Today is day 321 of the year of streaming and learning to code. We are continuing on with project number 5, random user generator. And yet again, we've said this, 3 or 4 times now? Hopefully this is the last day, for real this time, for this particular project. We survived our day at Disneyland yesterday, and now we get to continue on with this tonight. We are adding in what I believe is the last section or portion of this particular activity that we've been so focused on the last, I don't even know how many days now. Here's our current example. Here is our project, our version of the nightmare. Example project. Beautiful, successful, awesome, good, good, good. Okay, so that's what we're shooting for. Here is what we currently have. Ta-da! Dee-dee-dee-dee-dee-dee. Not quite as fancy, but, you know, it's there, it works, it's alive and kicking, and it covers like 98% of all the checkpoints. That last little portion is adding in transitions between newly generated random users. You know what, and I just noticed that we were looking for animations, I think, but in reality, we should have been looking for transitions. I think we landed on animations because they were easier to implement. Basically, it may be a transition that we should be adding, but I'm just looking for any type of change or action to when we modify the data or go make a new call. So there's this kind of dissolve fade effect, both out and in. Let's see. What would we want to do? We would want to fade out when it's clicked and fade in at the end. Let's try CSS fade in, fade out. CSS fade in, then. CSS fade in, then out. Yeah, perfect. I'm gonna make an element fade in and then fade out, and Stack Overflow. I can make an element with an opacity of 0 fade in by changing its class to element to fade in and out with the following CSS. Is there a way to make the element fade out after it fades in by editing CSS in the same class? Thank you very much. Element to fade in and out, opacity 1, animation, fade 2 seconds linear, keyframes 50, 100% to 100, opacity 0, and then 50% opacity 1. Here's a demo. WebKit, blah, blah, blah. The fact that they ended up referencing keyframes in animation leads me to believe that I should probably just go ahead and track down that animation page that we were looking at before the other day. And then we can throw that in over here. This is fade delay, or fade in, delay, fade out. I want to animate CSS transition that fades in, then delay, then fade out. Is that possible with CSS? In JS Fiddle, you can do this without the fade out class. You can do it in the fade in itself. Working demo. Keyframes again. 75, 100. Keep seeing this WebKit transformation. I take that as a sign, as I should probably Google what the hell that is. Or the WebKit transform. Either way, nevertheless, let's check out the thing from the stuff. Can't remember it all. CSS animation. Ta-da, be-diddly-dee-dee-dee. Using CSS animation, exactly what we're looking for. And there were a couple just kind of drop-in, drag and play type things. Plug and play, drag and drop. That was the phrase we were looking for. I'm going to do a brief story mode. Let's kind of start from the top. All right, so using CSS animations. This is an experimental technology. Because this technology's specification has not stabilized, check the compatibility table for usage in various browsers. Also note that the syntax and behavior of an experimental technology is subject to change in the future versions of browsers as the specification changes. CSS animations make it possible to animate transitions from one CSS style configuration to another. Animations consist of two components: a style describing the CSS animation and a set of keyframes that indicate the start and end states of the animation styles, as well as possible intermediate waypoints. There are three key advantages to CSS animations over traditional script-driven animation techniques. One, they're easy to use for simple animations, which is perfect because that's exactly what I need. This bit right here, numero uno. They're easy to use for simple animations. Beautiful. Anyways, you can create them without even having to know JavaScript. Also a plus. Even though that's what we've been focused on for quite a while now, is the JavaScript. Two, the animations run well, even under moderate system load. Simple animations can often perform poorly in JavaScript unless they're well made. The rendering engine can use frame skipping and other techniques to keep the performance as smooth as possible. Aha, that explained why one bar when we were clicking through the animations below progressed smoothly, as they just mentioned, versus one was like really sketchy, super jittery. It was like quick in the beginning and then kind of consistent, then really slow at the end. It was just weird for everybody involved. Three, letting the browser control the animation sequence lets the browser optimize performance and efficiency by, for example, reducing the update frequency of animations running in tabs that are currently that aren't currently visible. So, very cool. Lots of good benefits. Straightforward, and yeah, nice. So, configuring the animations. To create a CSS animation sequence, you style the element you want to animate with the animation property or its subproperties. This lets you configure the timing, duration, and other details of how the animation sequence should progress. This does not configure the actual appearance of the animation, which is done using the keyframes at rule as described in defining the animation sequence using keyframes below. Fascinating. So that's where the keyframe goodness comes in. That's what's actually determining what the hell is happening, which makes sense now compared to the examples, because that's where they would actually kind of define like the actions and what was taking place. Awesome. The subproperties of the animations are... Hey, Topher! How you doing? Good evening to you, sir. How was Disneyland? Disneyland was good. Disneyland was successful. Surprisingly, we got there a lot earlier than I realized. Normally, we kind of show up late morning, early noonish, kind of, 11ish or so. Nope, we were there by like 9 something, and we were there. We didn't stay super late, but it was definitely very dark when we left. So it was a full day. We did both parks. Started off on the California Adventure side. Hit a quite a few rides, and then lines weren't that bad. No lines we waited in were more than, 40 minutes. Most of them were like about 20-ish. So that was kind of cool. And then we shimmied over to Disneyland for the later part of the day. And it was good. It was good. Successful Disney trip. Hopefully your Thursday was equally exciting as a day at Disneyland. There's a strong possibility that it wasn't, but we can dream. And Friday, yeah, Friday. Everyone loves Fridays today, so that's cool. You know what's awesome? Today is 3-2-1, and that's fun because it's consecutive and counting down. I don't know if we reflected on the fact that it's day 3-2-1, but we should because it's awesome. It's a linear decreasing number, and it's comforting. Topher, did you write It's a Small World? Did I hang myself? Am I here? No, I did not go on It's a Small World. In fact, I don't think I've been on. I think I've only rode It's a Small World once or twice, and I was just a wee lad when that happened. You can only listen to that song for so long. I think there's a human threshold, and if you experience it all when you're young, then you're doomed. So I don't think they've updated that show tune in a while, which they really need to. Let's see, what were we doing aside from the Disney endeavors? Yes, sub-properties. Sub-properties. How quickly I forget. Shiny object, right? The sub-properties of the animation property are animation delay, configures the delay between the time the element is loaded and the beginning of the animation sequence. Animation direction configures whether or not the animation should alternate direction on each run through the sequence or reset to the start point and repeat. Animation duration configures the length of time an animations should take to complete one cycle. Animation iteration count configures the number of times the animation should repeat. You can specify inflate to repeat the animation indefinitely. Animation name specifies the name of the keyframes at rule describing the animation's keyframes. Makes sense? Animation's playstate, almost through the sub-properties. Animation's playstate lets you pause and resume the animation sequence. Animation timing function configures the time of the animation. That's how the animation transitions through keyframes by establishing acceleration curves. And then animation fill mode configures what values are applied by the animation before and after it's executing. Awesome. So, and just as a side note, I can't wait for we may need to be the ones who do this. I don't know if we'll be able to execute it as eloquently as was it Code Pip? I believe that was the creator of Flex Froggy and Grid Garden. But there, just from the sounds and from what I've seen, seems like there should be, I don't know, in animation something. An animation corral or an animation animal something. But there needs to be a third game, and it should be this, and it would be outstanding. Topher. I've ridden it 100 times. Oh dear God, I took my 2-year-old to Disneyland. Oh, that sounds like a very long, painful Disney trip. I'm sure it was filled with a special kind of joy that family time brings, but dear God. Hopefully you had some good headphones or earplugs with you. Maybe the sounds of crying children was able to soften the sounds of the never-ending song that is It's a Small World. But at least you made it out. You're here. That's what counts. That's what's important. Defining the animation sequence using keyframes. Once you've configured the animation's timing, you need to define the appearance of the animation. This is done by establishing 2 or more keyframes using the at keyframe, or using the keyframes at rule. Each keyframe describes how the animated element should render at a given time during the animation sequence. Since the timing of the animation is defined in the CSS style that configures the animation, keyframes use the percentage, oh dear God, that didn't highlight, percentage, to indicate the time during the animation sequence at which they take place. 0% indicates the first moment of the animation sequence, while 100% indicates the final state of the animation. Because these two times are so important, they have special aliases, from and to. Both are optional if from is 0% or to 100% is not specified. The browser starts or finishes the animation using the computed values of all attributes. Again, this seems fantastic, just like Flexbox and the CSS grid. CSS Animations, although it's still in kind of its fetal state as an experimental thing, hopefully it catches some movement, because so far it seems freaking awesome. You can optionally You can optionally include additional keyframes that describe intermediate steps between the start and end of the animation. All I can think of is taking Flexbox Froggy and CSS Grid, well, setting up a grid with CSS Grid, then taking Flexbox for an object, for positioning, and then animating the frog moving, flowing through the whole grid. That's what I want to see. Auto frog. Yes, we'll get there. We will get there. We're gonna just mix all of this noise together for no reason, simply because we can. Examples. Note the examples here don't use any prefix on the animation CSS property. WebKit-based browsers in older versions of the other browsers may need prefixes. The live examples you can click to see in your browser also include the WebKit prefixed versions. So that must have been the confusion or curiosity regarding the at WebKit keyframes bit we were noticing. Okay, so it's there for a reason. It is there for a reason. Making text slide across the browser. This was the, I think as Topher put it, the lazy eye effect, which definitely kind of plays the part. It was very odd when we just like copy and paste and smashed it in. That was making the jigsaw puzzle work for us, and not the other way around. So from here, the simple example styles the paragraph element so that the text slides from off the right edge of the browser window. Wait a second. So that the text slides in from off the right edge of the browser window. Aha. Note that the animations like this can cause the page to become wider than the browser window. To avoid this problem, put the element to be animated in a container and set overflow hidden on the container. Interesting. Very cool. I wonder why, if they mention that here, that they don't add it into their example. That seems like such a straightforward... Why wouldn't everyone want to use that? Oh well, we'll find out. Paragraph. Animation duration, 3 seconds. Animation name, slide in. Keyframes, slide in. From, so keyframes holds all the different frames. At a minimum we need 2. From and start are the basic, 0 to 100, beginning to end. Margin left, 100% with 300. So off screen from the left, technically over here for you guys. Shimmying to margin left 0% with 100. I think we'll probably add in the overflow hidden, because we can. So, yes, beautiful. Yeah, we can read that bit. We don't need to worry too much about the next example. I just kind of wanted to get familiar because it seemed like a good alternative to just a generic transition. So yeah, that's that. Let's do this. Let's get our hands dirty with some good old CSS. I want to take this basically and kind of test it. No, what I want to do is put the info in stuff and such. Here's this. Let's crack open view, developer, JavaScript. And this is essentially the last little component to add to this. And from here, we can do the following. So if we set up, we ran into some weird sizing issues because of how we have things structured with our divs and the elements and other divs within divs. And because I'm using M's, 1M for stuff, I think percentage-wise, it's like skewing crap. I don't know. That's how it seemed to me down here. We tried to pull buttons out and move things, and structurally it got really strange, and I forget what I did. I think I removed something out. Yeah, this is the user div, and I tried to pull the buttons div out from here. So we've got our main div, and then within that we've got our user div. I put the buttons in here, but I styled things and it got weird when I pulled them out. I don't want to have to deal with that. I should, but yeah. So what I'm going to do now is kind of do a subset of another container for just, I believe, the user info. Yeah. This part. Here. You know what kind of sucks too? Is the fact that image is... Oh, no, image is here within user. Image is here within user. Everything's great. Everything's... I saw this image, and for some reason, I was like, why the hell is their profile pic outside of the user info? I'm just crazy because it's late. Topher, I never thought of that. Learned something new. Oh, are we discussing... I assume this stuff. And then, yeah, that's probably where revelations occurred. Good. Continuing on. So, crafting a new div to hold the user data specific stuff. That way we don't throw off whatever kind of sizing and layout aesthetically was going on with our main div and our buttons div. So here we will do new div. I guess we can actually call this. We could either call it user data or transition or animation. Call it animate. Animate data. Let's do that. Animate data. Animate user, transition user. Animate user. Let's do that. Animate user. Animaniacs. Animaniacs. Okay, no. Enough of that, Steven. No singing. Animate. Animate user. Isn't the user div already a container? Yes, the user div already is a container. However, it's containing the buttons and we can move them. There was some weird structural thing that occurred, probably due to the oh, you know what it was? Probably due to all the other crap that I had going on out here. Or when I pulled this div out from here, and I forget where I moved it. I think it was down here. Save, save, save. Refresh. No, that's not right. And Z, and Z. Here. Save, save, save. Refresh. See, it's still in the same spot, but the buttons are outside of that. It's a spacing thing, and I'm sure it's something basic and straightforward, but mentally I can't connect those dots right now. I just don't have the emotional interest invested into that, so I know that it's perfectly sized, not going outside of that when it is back within its normal spot inside the user info. Z, man Z. Save, save, save. We can back out to show what happens, the lazy eye effect. When we just drop this in. Copy, oh, refusing to copy and paste, copy and paste. So this is what happened last night. Runtime, you know, we'll do it down just before the last one. Instead of paragraph, we will do the user class, so user period, comment, user period, dot user. Way cool. So save, and refresh. Ta-da, and it just, there we go. And now it's got that weird transition in, which we're going to adjust the CSS and turn that into our own. But here, everything's back structured the way it should be button-wise within this. I don't know what it is. It is probably the containers and my other CSS. Things overlapping. We got a lot of cross contamination, if you will. Yeah. So it's there. That's a thing. So my solution and also kind of goal was not to have everything shimmy, the buttons in the user info all interestingly come together, kind of scarily come together. That's not a word, but it certainly gets the point across. I really just want like the user info to either transition or fade or something. So that's why we're going to do the animate user or animate data. We'll call it animate data. That's what we're going to do. So animate data, and then we're going to put the rest of this noise in there. I realize that's probably unnecessary, probably crazy, but that's the best I've got for right now. Generate user. Right there. That's their pick. Cut. Paste. Save. And refresh. Well, damn. Why is it still doing that? Oh, because it's still on user in general. It's still on user in general. Now we need to do, what the hell is it called? Animate data. Copy, copy, copy. Update this. Ta-da, animate data. Save. Refresh. Ta-da, be-diddy-dee-dee-dee. But now I need to have that happen each time, I can almost put that into JavaScript or a function, or set the keyframes into that, or tell it to trigger. I wonder how I can get that to trigger the animation. I wonder if there's a fade button. Is there a fade in? Margin from width. Refresh. I don't know. I also think I want it to go from, instead of margin left 100 to 0, I think I want it to be margin bottom 100 to 0, and for it to scroll down to kind of like pour into the user. I don't know if I want it to pour in because the buttons are at the bottom, so if you click the buttons, I think I might want to see it bring info up, like we're resurrecting a new user. I know that's kind of a weird thing, but let's tinker, shall we? Margin top. Margin top. Save, save, save. Refresh. That's not quite what I was expecting. What about margin bottom? Margin bottom. I mean, it did exactly what I want, but it had that weird extendy bit to it, and just strange for everybody. Refresh. Well, kind of strange. I think I need to change the 100 and the 0 to 0 and 100. Save, save, save. It's the width thing. It's starting from 100. And it's going to 100. Damn. I don't know. You know what? Let's finish reading and then we'll come back to this. We curtailed story time briefly. Also, as a side note, chat seems to be tripping out on the phone. It's like super dead and non-responsive. I'm gonna reset the Twitch app. There's that. Back into the Twitch app. There we go. That's slightly better. Yep. See, now I see your most recent comment, Topher. You're giving it a bottom margin, so creating separation beneath the animated div. Oh, right. All my stuff that I need to change it back to top. Change it back to top. Good thing I reset my phone. Or not my phone, but the app. Good on me. Top. Top. Save. How do I reverse that? 100. 0. Oh, that's a little better. Somewhat. Let's finish this last little bit of storyline. Not too interested in the other examples, but for what we're currently up against. Note that animations like this will cause the page to become wider than the browser window. To avoid this problem, put the element to be animated in a container and set overflow hidden. I should probably add that bit. In this example, the style for P element specifies that the animation should take 3 seconds to execute from start to finish. Using the animation duration property, the name of the keyframes at rule defining the keyframes for the animation sequence is named slide-in, kind of like a function name it seems. If we want any custom styling on the P elements to appear in the browser that don't support CSS animation, we would include it here as well. However, in this case, we won't want any custom styling other than the animation effect. The keyframes are defined using the keyframes at rule. In this case, we have just 2 keyframes. The first occurs at 0 using the alias from. I feel like I should start at 0. Why does it end? Yeah. The first occurs at 0 using the alias from. Here we configure the left margin of the element to be at 100%. That is the far right edge of the containing element. And the width of the element to be 300, or 3 times the width of the containing element. This causes the first frame of the animation to have the header drawn off the right edge of the browser. This is so odd. The second and final keyframe occurs at 100% using the alias to. The left margin is set to 0 and the width of the element is set to 100. This causes the header to finish its animation flush against the left edge of the container area. Alright. I think we can get there. So, let's set things back to normal. Margin left. Okay, let's kind of reverse it. Margin right. Followed by margin right. Hey, Mr. Demon Wolf. Oh, keyframes. Keyframes are fun. Keyframes have been interesting. I don't think I've reached the fun part yet. I've encountered the curious part, but so far, shockingly, I'm confused. Yes. Day 321. We encounter confusion yet again on our long journey. So if this starts off screen at 300%, I think I should end up adding in the set overflow hidden for the container. And we can probably do that up here in addition to the animation. Save, save, save. Let's refresh our current beast. Well, you're not, Doug. Damn. Slide in 3 seconds. It did it for margin left. We set all the numbers back. Why doesn't it like... See? Look at Lucas. He's sliding all over the place. He had a friggin' blast. So Lucas slid in. I guess the left is okay. Not too weird. It's not awful. In fact, it's kinda nice. It's a little comforting. Also, because everything is left aligned, even though it's still centered, that kinda works. I can be into that. I can be that guy. Kosi, QQ, hey there, how you doing? Mr. Demon Wolf, you're always like that, but hey, you're still learning, right? Yeah, exactly. Perseverance. It's, I don't know if it's helpful, but it's there. Perseverance is always there. Let's see. Pro animation rate. 68. I'm not clever enough to understand. The first part where you lose me is the pro portion. We are so far from the pro level of doing anything. I just need to figure out how to trigger the animate date with each one. See, when it refreshes, it happens immediately. You know what? Maybe if I add like a window load or something. Oh, I'm an idiot. It's late. The second time I looked at it after your thing, yes, cozy, much better. You would rate it 0.68 out of pro animation would rate 0.68 out of 0.7. Good, good. Yes, much better. Thank you for connecting the dots. I appreciate it. It's late and I'm confused. This is day 321. There's no testing out new things on Steven after God knows what time it is. Oh my god, it's only been 21 minutes? Bullshit. It hasn't been 21 minutes. There's no way. Oh, it's the time. It's the time. It's only 12:21 or 0:21. I've been streaming for 42 minutes. Wow. I almost lost it. I was like, holy shit. This is awful. Time is just completely stopped. Alright, so it's been 40 minutes. Good, good. We want to do something. I don't know if I should do like a window load or something with the CSS Topher. Hint, thank God we need that. Hint, you can add or remove classes with JavaScript. Interesting. Okay, so hold on. Topher has given me sticks. Everyone knows that the sticks are used to create fire, but I don't know yet that I can create fire. I know I can do something with them, and that something is important. What can I do with the hint sticks? So I can add and remove classes with JavaScript. And add and remove. So maybe when I call it, maybe at the beginning of each one, just like kind of how we have the date variable start date now, and then only at the end do we have, where to go? Down here after all of the noise, the calculation date now after all of it's run compared to start. Maybe we can do add the class at the beginning of the function request. That will trigger the action, and then at the end we can remove the class. So when we click the button again, if we did XHR, it would add it in the beginning, fingers crossed, trigger the data, and then remove it at the end. I wonder if it will drag it as it's compiling the data. I wonder if that's going to look weird. I think I'm missing something. I think at this point, I took the sticks that I was supposed to use for fire and have broken the sticks and made them into a small pile of wood that I could light on fire. Still slightly productive, not exactly what we needed. we're getting closer to the solution. That's the best way I can put that into perspective. So I'm sorry for breaking the hint sticks and using them incorrectly. But let's see how that goes. So, Button Fiasco 2017 commences right now. So brace yourselves. What am I looking for? What am I looking for? Adding and removing a class. If I only knew how to add and remove a class, it'd be so much easier. I thought we added and removed a class somewhere around here. It would be so much easier if I remember where everything was in my code. Damn it. Bah. Bah. Giving where I shouldn't even have to think about this. I should just be able to add it. My mind's shot. We're gonna do it. We're gonna do it. We do document, element, and that's it. We just reference the element, and instead of doing text content, we just do dot class, and we update it. We update it with that. That's what we're gonna do with each one of these. So here, user animation. We'll do it after the date start now. This isn't going to end well for anybody, mostly me. Let's try it on the XHR area first. Document. No. Type it out like a human. Document dot set element by ID. This is animate data dot, I think it's class name if I'm not mistaken. Am I really removing the class? I am. Add and remove. This also means I need to add an ID to that stupid thing as well. I need to add an ID, like everything else. ID. Animate data. Click shoes. Data, be sure to use the front door. Okay, don't mind me. That was a minor Goonies breakdown. Data, the character, that's okay. We'll connect those dots later. What to do next? Something about classes, right. So here, we're referencing the class animate data. We've got this. Save. Got that. Class name. We're gonna Google it. It's add and remove. JavaScript add class. Wow, I was on the right track? No way. Change all classes for an element to replace all existing classes with one or more new classes. Set the class name attribute. Document get element by ID my element dot class name my class. You can use the space delimited list to apply to multiple classes. How in God's name am I on the right track? That makes no sense. I just can't believe it. Class name. Can't believe I was right. Awesome. Day 321. Steven has slightly learned something. What did we want it to be? Animate. God, I can't even think it all. Thank God this is the end. Animate data. Animate data. Cool. And at the end of this nightmare, remove. Huh. Remove class from div. Yeah, those don't seem fun. JavaScript, remove class. Pretty sure it's the same thing. jQuery, change the class name of the element. See, look, this is what I was thinking of. Use add class and remove class to remove one class name and add new class names. Removing class uses a function, and that is a thing. Using a function to remove class, blah, 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 blah. That's what I was talking about. I knew there was something different. I mean, we can also do this and just get rid of it as well. Empty out the string. And we would put that right at the end after the date now. I guess we could put it before. I actually think we'll put it after. Just because, no, we'll do it before. 1, 2. Let's save this, try it out. Oh. Refresh. That comes in. We click. No, not quite a thing. Damn. Well, I figured it would have removed it, and when we added it, I figured it would have called it. Or engage reactivated the thing. Just not sure what to do. Little soul crushing. Hey, Yum, how you doing? You might not need jQuery.com. Sure, why not? jQuery and its cousins are great. And by all means, use them if it makes it easier to develop your applications. If you're developing a library, on the other hand, please take a moment to consider you actually need jQuery as a dependency. Maybe you can include a few lines of utility code and forego the requirement. If you're only targeting more modern browsers, you might not need anything more than what the browsers ship with. At the very least, make sure you know what jQuery is doing for you and what it's not. Some developers believe that jQuery is protecting us from a great demon of browser incompatibility, when in truth, post-IE8 browsers are pretty easy to deal with on their own. Good to know. Brief, straightforward, effective. Alternatives, Ajax, request, and then super agent. jQuery, blah blah blah. IE9 plus for posting, jQuery, IE8, blah blah blah. Requests, good. All fascinating, all fun. Thank you for the link, Yum. Always good to have. Our particular jQuery request is to try and gauge the difference between the 4 different API, or the 4 different requests we've got set up for our API. We've got our XHR and then fetch, Axios, and jQuery. So they're all there to highlight their strengths and differences. Not exactly there to commit to one lifestyle, but still good to know. We appreciate the link. What were we doing? We were being sad and confused with why it works so effectively when we refresh a page, And how come, with the addition of the new lines of code, you know what I did? I added it in the wrong area for XHR. That's what happened. This, I added it to the fetch request area like an idiot. Bad Steven. Ah, I need to add it into the successful portion of the if free. Here is where it was supposed to go. Ta-da! Save, save, save. So many rookie mistakes, Steven. So many rookie mistakes. Refresh. And click. Whoa. Well, it's a little fast. I'm not sure what to do with that. Death. Maybe we should only... We should remove it in the beginning and then add it back when it's clicked. That's what we need to do. This doesn't go at the bottom of it. It goes before the beginning. You'll see. You'll see. Cut. So we added at the beginning to kick things off. But what we really need, this. And it's okay if we put it before the start because I can live with that. Yeah, it's a thing. So don't mind me. Plus, visually, kind of nice, but we're removing its class name and then we're adding it in. Then it gives its full time to process all of this and to fully slide over. And when we go to click the button again, we trigger the data, it clears the class name, and then it starts the timer to build out the web page. And I know start should do the whole thing, but we'll... Damn it, we'll move it for start's sake. We'll move it for start's sake. Fuck it. Nope. We're testing. Testing first, then we're moving. Save, save, save. Crazy person's choice. Ta-da, successful sliding. But wait. Click XHR. God. Fuck. Oh. Okay. That's fine. That's good. Failure's fun. I mean, it kind of hurts. Sort of feels like a heart attack, but that's probably how it's supposed to feel. Why, God, is it broken? I don't know what to do. Don't know what to do. We need to set it so it transitions with each time it's clicked. All of the buttons below. We need to trigger the animation. We've got our animation here. Maybe we should do add and remove instead of the get element by ID. Let's try the add and remove nonsense from the top. Death. What if we just leave the add animation, or the class name as animate that? Save. Refresh. Damn. What would trigger the animation? I'm telling you, window load. It's the only other thing I can come up with. I know window load isn't necessary, but isn't it like window, literally just window load? And that's it? JavaScript, window. The onload function. The window object in JavaScript has an event handler called onload. Global event handlers.onload. If I do window.on or user.on, window onload for that. I think I've broken it. When window on loads, so when it loads, we make it equal to something, so it execute it. Transitions shouldn't be this difficult. Where did I put... You know what? Let's get rid of the class. Cut. Save. Now let's do this again. Yeah. Let's try that once more. Save, save, save. Refresh. We added it. Damn. Last name. Let's do remove class. Class. Right, JavaScript. Remove a class. Variable active. Selector dot active dot remove. Blah blah blah. Is there a non-terrible version? The div class bold red. Get element by ID. The div get element by ID button. Function remove red. Class the div class name. Div class name. Content replace red with blah. No 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 no. This is tragic. This is tragic. Remove class. Step 1, add HTML. This example will add a button, remove the my style. Where the hell did it go? Div, ID, my div, class, my style. My style from the div with blah. Step 2, add CSS, my style. Step 3, add JavaScript. Get the div element with the ID, my div, and remove my style. Function, element, blah blah blah, my div, element class list remove. Oh, fascinating. We may do that. Cross-browser solution. Blankety blankety blah. Num 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 num. Dumb. Let's do Try this. What element is it? It's that whole thing. So what if we do class list? Remove. I wonder where that leads us. La da 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 dee 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 dee. La da 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 dee 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 dee. Do 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 do. Animate data. Animate. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. No, 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 Animaniacs. Not again. And no, we're spelling it out. All our own, we're victims of our own subliminal messaging. Animate data. Okay, we're good. We've got our semicolon. Let's try this once more. Save. Refresh. Added in. It's referenced nowhere else. Death. Remove. What if I just wait till later? What if it takes too long to kill it? Maybe I'm too eager and we should wait till after runtime? Save. That comes in. Oh my god. Yeah, I got it. Finally. Oh, thank god we did it. Took forever, but we pulled it off. It was remove the class, and it probably should be add class down there, but whatever. We make it add, we'll test it. Damn, we'll test it. Copy. Doing this for society's sake. I like what we had. Add. Save. Refresh. Wait, what the deuce? I didn't do the right thing at all. I didn't even come close to doing the right thing. That didn't help anybody. And cut. Paste. Comment that out. That's what we need. Add. Blah, blah, blah. Now save. Alright. Refresh. It drags in. We click. And it drags in again. We keep clicking. Look at this. The party never stops. You know why? Because we built it that way. Golden. Beautiful. It functions. It's alive. It works. Copy, copy, copy. This project is finally over with. It's done. It's dead. We can celebrate. Be-de-dee-dee. Be-de-dee-dee. Be-de-dee-dee-dee-dee-dee-dee. We still need to stitch in the last component. We can get rid of that. And let's cut this. No, copy it. Copy, copy. Put the else in place. Well, I don't know if there was breathing room. We'll leave some breathing room. Just below. That's where I was. That's what we were hunting for with all of this noise. Yeah, yeah, that beautiful. Okay, here is all of this. Save, save, save. Let's try all three now. Fingers crossed this doesn't blow up in our face. One. When we load the page, just with the hard reset or the initial load. But when we click on the button, XHR drags over. Fetch also drags over. Axios and jQuery, as well as everything again when we click them whenever we want. It's all beautiful. It's all fantastic. We survived. We did it. It took a lot of work, a lot of effort, guidance falling on our face. It's still far from perfect, but we lived. Day 321. We survived. It wasn't easy, but we pulled it off. Here is let's gander at all of our HTML. So there's that for all of the divs and whatnot and buttons and scripts and blah blah blah, all that noise. Our CSS for everything, animations included. There's a healthy dose of probably, well, there's a lot of stuff. I don't know if there's actually as much kind of, we'll call it cross-contaminating as I'd made it out to be. There was a lot more involved with this project, and we did try to push our CSS limits further than they had gone. And I think we were successful in doing that. Exploring new territory. Function, I am like 33% sure that I'm supposed to put window in here, but only 33% sure, so I'm gonna leave it empty. We've got that. Our XHR request out of the gates, which is this guy that initially triggers it. And yeah, so then we've got everything else. Our click event. Ah, that's right. We set up a switch case for all of the different scenarios. How cool is that? And then I can't believe all the noise and effort that XHR request took to set up. I'm glad this project's finally over. I'm not sure on the balance between diving into the next project, because now that we've done this this Ajax kind of project for XHR, JavaScript, Axios, and jQuery, I think I might check, test, or add in the API projects from FreeCodeCamp, because I was very confused trying to deal with those, and we kind of got derailed because of the confusion for FreeCodeCamp regarding those intermediate API projects. Regardless, we set up the rest of our requests and display user, and then we have our age calculation. 1970. Almost as confusing as binary. Just not anywhere near as painful. Okay, reflectionary period over and dealt with. Let's go ahead and crack open GitHub. Put the final nail in this coffin. And we are done. Hell yeah, day 321 successful. GitHub. GitHub for you, GitHub for me, GitHub for everybody. Let's go ahead and minimize this bit. Minimize you. Crack open GitHub desktop. Do. No song and dance before the end. Focus. What did we add? We added CSS Animations. Really more of animation. Singular. Okay, added CSS animation, commit to master, and push. Awesome. Awesome. Close out of that window. Get rid of that. And double check random user generator. Ta-da! Success, we did it. This particular battle is now won. The BDX project list war rages on as we continue on with other stuff tomorrow. I think the next project is the mouse cursor, so that should be... We'll find out what that all entails tomorrow. Possibly and probably a shorter stream. That'll be mostly just the initial setup of the files, as that's kind of how it goes for the first stream for each project. Just kind of get a feeler, the general direction of what's to come. With that said, let's jump over to OBS. Day 321, 321. Yeah, that's right. 321 is over with, comes to an end, but the adventure continues tomorrow with day 322 of the year of streaming and learning to code. In the meantime, I'd like to thank anyone and everyone who stopped by to view the stream. Today we had Topher, Mr. Demon Wolf, Kosi QQ, and Yum Yum. Also, thank you to anyone else who may have accidentally stopped by. Any and all views are greatly, greatly appreciated. In the meantime, we are stopping the stream. Are you sure you want to stop the stream? Hell yeah. Kill it.